The Report Card, Chapter 7, The Element of Surprise. As I sat at the big round table between my mom and Dad, I felt like I was trapped in a sandwich. It was mealtime in the principal's office, and the main dish was sliced Nora. Mrs. Hackney liked big meetings. She always had. Almost every other week she called an all-school assembly, or an all-fifth-grade meeting, or an all-second-grade meeting, or some kind of gathering of kids and teachers. She said it gave the school cohesiveness. She said it created good group dynamics for all of us to see each other's faces. As she said at the meeting, as a large group helped us to solve our problem altogether all at once. That was clearly what she had in mind today. Miss Hackney sat down and took charge. Since Mr. and Mrs. Rowley asked for all of you to be here, perhaps they should mention a few of their concerns they shared with me this morning. Then maybe Nora's teachers can explain things from their perspective. And if she wants to, maybe Nora could share a little too. How does that sound? My mom nodded and smiled and cleared her throat. She was happy to talk first. Principals and teachers and counselors didn't frighten her one bit. She'd been trying to boss them around for ages, ever since the time she tried to push Anne into the gifted program 2 years early. My mom said, "We really appreciate all of you taking the time to come and talk. It's one of the things we've always loved about Philbrook schools. Our first concern today, apart from Nora's grades themselves, is that we had no warning that there was a problem, not so much as a note or a phone call, and we'd like to understand how that happened." Nobody said anything for about 3 seconds. Then Miss Burns said, "I can only speak about Nora's grade and library skills, of course, but it's pretty clear what happened." Miss Byrne had her grade book open on the table in front of her. So did my other teachers. My heart was pounding so hard that I was sure my mom and Dad would hear it. Mrs. Byrne ran her index finger along a row of numbers. On the first 3 quizzes and our first reference search, Nora got the scores that averaged out to be about a 72%, which is a low C. And that's what she had at the 7th week of the term. That's when we mailed out academic warnings to parents. And since Nora didn't have a D or lower, there was no warning. Then on the next quiz and our final internet research project, Nora did quite poorly, and that pulled her grade down. I entered her scores, calculated the average, and there it was. Mrs. Byrne looked at me and smiled. Nora is one of the library's best customers, so I didn't like having to give her a D, but that's the way it happened. Mrs. Zhang nodded. "Exactly," she said. "Numbers are numbers, and an average is an average. Same thing in science and math class for Nora. Her grades dropped right off after the end of term, and that was it. No warning for you, no warning for me." All of my other teachers started nodding and agreeing. Mr. McKay cleared his throat and said, "Ditto in gym class, C's all term." Then a big fat F on the obstacle course fitness challenge. Dropped her to a D. I could tell my dad didn't like it when Mr. McKay said big fat F, but I sort of enjoyed it. I was proud of that F. I was probably the only kid in history of the school to fail the obstacle course fitness challenge. It took a lot of creativity to look completely uncoordinated and totally out of shape. Dr. Trindler said, "I'd like to make an observation." He was the guidance counselor. He was also a psychologist for the school district. He opened a big folder and started shuffling papers around. I knew that what the folder was. It was the Nora Rowley folder, all the records from my past 5 years at Philbrook Elementary School. As he looked at the papers on the table, Dr. Trindler put the palms of his hands together and flexed them apart so that only the tips of his long, thin fingers were touching. Apart, together, it made his hands look like a spider doing push-ups on a mirror. He adjusted his glasses and then tried to smile at my parents. He didn't look at me. "Mr. and Mrs. Rowley, I know this sort of report card can be upsetting, but honestly, grades like this aren't that far out of line with Nora's mastery testing profile, or with her academic history here at the elementary school. The Philbrook school system has very high standards, and Nora's been an average student, right there in the middle, with room to move either way, and sometimes grades can get tipped downward instead of upward. That's all. And sometimes performance can be related to all sorts of things. Things like unusual stress at home, like losing a job, or perhaps a death in the family. Sometimes even little disturbances can make a big difference. Right away, my dad leaned forward and said, "Are you pushing this problem back at me? Is that what you're doing? We're not talking about my job or our family life here. You people handed out almost a dozen D's, and you didn't even know what each other was doing. No one stepped in to help a kid who clearly needed some. And now it's somehow my fault? I don't like the sound of that, not at all." Mrs. Hackney said, "I'm sure Dr. Trindler didn't mean to make it sound that like this was anyone's fault, Mr. Rowley. We're certainly not trying to assign blame here. We just want to understand what happened so we can make the right adjustments." My dad didn't sit back. Mrs. Hackney didn't want to ask him if he had more to say, because he probably did. So she kept talking and said, "Well, one person we haven't heard from yet is Nora." Then, looking at me, Mrs. Hackney smiled and said, "Nora, is there anything you can tell us that would help us understand what happened at the end of the grading term?" This meeting wasn't something I had planned for, but it was an interesting opportunity. I had all my teachers and my parents together in one place. I could make a big impression on everyone all at once. So I tried to stay calm, and I decided I needed to say something remarkable. I needed to find something surprising, something that would make everybody wonder. I said, because I was trying to think of something amazing, and then I said, "Well," because I was still thinking, and then I found it, the perfect thing to say. I said, "I guess I didn't do very well in my classes and everything, but I'm not mad about my grades. I like D's." I felt my mom and dad stiffen. Mrs. Hackney paused a moment. Then slowly she said, "You like D's? What do you mean, Nora?" "You know, D's," I said. "D's have a pretty shape." And I kept this blank, happy little smile on my face. The room went dead silent, and I realized another fact. When I needed to be, I'm a pretty good actor. Mrs. Hackney was the first person in the audience to come back to life. She said, "That's very interesting, Nora." Mrs. Hackney glanced around at the table. She said, "Well, perhaps we've got enough to think about for right now. I know everyone will be here working to help Nora earn better grades in this new term, and I know all of our staff will do their best to stay in touch with her parents." She paused, and then she said, "There's one other thing, something I talked about with Mr. and Mrs. Rowley this morning. I suggested that it might be helpful if we give Nora some additional evaluation, and they've agreed. That way we can know the best kind of help to offer. So this is a heads up because Dr. Trindler might need to take Nora out of class now and then over the next few days." Looking around at the table with a smile, Mrs. Hackney said, "All right then, if no one has anything else, our little meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming." I looked at the clock. The meeting had only lasted 9 minutes. It had felt longer than that. It probably felt a lot longer to my mom and dad. Out in the hall, my dad said, "Do you have all your things, Nora? I'm going to drop you two off at home." I nodded, so we went out the door. When we got outside, I had to trot to keep up with my mom. When we were halfway up to the car, she said, "What in the world were you talking about in there, Nora? You like the shape of D's? What did you mean by that?" I shrugged. "Nothing. It was just something to say." My dad muttered, "More like something that made no sense." There wasn't much chit-chat in the car during the ride home, so I analyzed the situation, and here's what I came up with. 1. I had a gang of grown-ups thinking about my grades. 2. Plus, they were all convinced I was an idiot. 3. My mom was so upset she couldn't chat. 4. My dad was ready to take a punch at someone. 5. The school was going to do some additional evaluation of me. And I decided that all in all, it had been a pretty good